Have you wondered how some people have straight hair while others have wavy or curly hair? Ano nga ba ang nagagawa ng iyong DNA sa mga traits na meron ka sa iyong katawan? In this video, you will learn how your cells synthesize protein, which will determine the traits that you possess. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng cells na naglalaman ng DNA na makikita sa loob ng nucleus ng isang cell. If we examine the structure of a DNA, you will find its important components. Ang DNA ay isang double helix chain na binubuo ng chain of nucleotides. Each nucleotide is composed of a phosphate group, a sugar, and a nitrogenous base. The nitrogenous base has 4 types, which complements by pair. And these are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Tandaan na ang complementary bases ay nagsisilbing code na may malaking gampanin sa paggawa ng protein ng isang cell. Another type of nucleic acid is the RNA. At katulad ng DNA, ito rin ay binubuo ng chain of nucleotides. Let us compare DNA with RNA. The DNA is a double-stranded molecule, while RNA is single-stranded. The sugar present in DNA is called deoxyribose, while RNA has ribose type of sugar. The nitrogenous base in a DNA are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. But in an RNA, the base thymine is replaced with uracil, which complements adenine. Another important detail about RNA is that it has 3 types: the mRNA, tRNA, and rRNA. This 3 plays an important role during protein synthesis since DNA is usually confined in the nucleus of a eukaryotic cell. mRNA stands for messenger RNA. Ang mRNA ang naglalabas ng coded message mula sa DNA. Ang rRNA naman ang gagawa ng protein na kailangan para sa proseso ng translation. Ang tRNA ang nagdadala ng amino acid na angkop para sa code ng mRNA. So, what happens in the DNA before it synthesizes protein? Before the cell divides, your DNA replicates or copies itself, which allows the cell to have the same copy of the DNA. In replication, an enzyme helicase separates the DNA into 2 strands from a point of origin. These 2 strands serve as the template of the bases that will later attach to it. Sa prosesong ito, importanteng tandaan na ang dalawang strand ng DNA ay hindi identical o magkapareho. Sila ay complementary o magkatugma. Ang dalawang strand din ay magkasalungat ng sinusunod na direction o tinatawag na anti-parallel. To continue with the process, the enzyme primase leads the enzyme polymerase in adding the complementary bases. Samantalang ang mga gaps naman ay pinupunan o sinisil ng enzyme ligase. To sum up the process, if we have a DNA strand as shown on the example, the strands will separate and the new set of bases will attach on both strands, therefore producing 2 identical copies of the DNA. Now that the DNA is successfully replicated, both copies will possess the similar information needed to produce the protein. Ang protein synthesis ay may dalawang major process. Ito ay ang transcription at translation. The process of transcription happens inside the nucleus of a cell, where it will undergo 3 stages. These are initiation, elongation, and termination. Ang proseso ay nagsisimula kapag ang DNA polymerase ay nag-bind sa isang bahagi ng DNA. Ang dalawang strand ng DNA ay muling maghihiwalay habang pinupunan naman ng complementary bases ang parehong strand upang makabuo ng mRNA. Let's take this case as an example. The code for the DNA template strand are AGT, CTC, CAC, TTP, ACG, ATA, CCA. Remember, in RNA, the base thymine is replaced with uracil. Analyzing the base pair, the transcribed mRNA will be UCA, GAG, GUG, AAA, UGC, UAU, GGU. Notice that the nitrogenous base comes in groups of 3. These groups are called codons. After transcribing the code from the DNA, the mRNA will now exit the nucleus of a cell and will proceed with the next process in protein synthesis. In the process of translation, the mRNA carrying the codons will bind itself into a ribosomal RNA. The tRNA, which has the complementary anticodon, carries the amino acid needed for making the protein. We can tell the type of amino acid carried by the anticodon by looking at the genetic code table. For an instance, the protein in the anticodon UCA is serine, and the other proteins are glutamate, valine, lysine, cysteine, tyrosine, and glycine. Given the codon from our mRNA, the tRNA matches and attaches itself and then leaves after pairing. It leaves behind a series of amino acid forming a polypeptide chain. After the polypeptide dissociates, it will be modified by the organelles before it is ready to function. The protein made during the process possesses the code for a specific trait. It's amazing how the human body carefully processes the information. Even the tiniest details are coded para mapanatili ang ating body functions at ang unique traits na meron ka. Ang protein synthesis ay maiahalin tulad sa programming na ginagawa sa mga computer applications. Maingat at masusing nagko-code ang mga programmer upang maging maayos ang functions ng isang application. Ang video ito ay overview pa lamang ng protein synthesis. Maaaring magbasa ng module o ng mga libro o di kaya naman ay manood ng mga videos patungkol dito.